Assalamualaikum everyone. So today we are going to continue with chapter 14 and let me remind you what we have done up till now. First of all, we discussed the four-stage process of selection of highway location. Then we had special cases for bridge location, for roads in urban areas, and scenic and recreational routes. And then we looked at the highway surveying methods and we discussed the calculation for photogrammetry as well. And then from then onwards we move to earthworks. Now I define the earthwork as the work required to bring the to bring the ground level equal to the proposed road level. And I told you this is the major part of cost of the cost of highway construction. If this part is done, that means the road is now ready to for the movement of vehicles. And then the other items which are remaining in the construction are auxiliary or secondary. So we have to minimize the cost of the earthwork, and so first of all we must know how to calculate it, right? If we don't know how to calculate, then how can you minimize it? Okay, so let us start by the calculation. So for example, this particular going like this is your road, the route which you have selected. Then along this route we'll cut cross sections at different intervals. Okay, so you can see three cross sections. Obviously you will start from the first point and you will end at the last point, and then in between these 2 points you will have different other cross sections. Okay, so when you are cutting the cross section along the route, I mean you can see the cross section. Okay, I'm cutting it, so I have many cross sections along the route. So in one cross section, what can you see? You can see the ground level, the elevation of the ground level. You can see the elevation of the road level because it's a cross section, right? So you can see the elevations, and you can see the width of the road, the width or the cross slope of the road. Okay, so it will look something like this. So you see the first cross section, the road level. You can see the road level can be identified with a plane surface. So the one with the plane surface is the road level, because road has to be operational for vehicles, so we make it plane. The ground level obviously is rough, it's irregular, so you can see the ground level below. So the road level is higher and the ground level is below that. So in order to bring the ground level equal to the road level, we have to do some filling in this case. If the cross section is like this, that the road level is higher, the ground level is lower, and then you have to do some filling. So this type of a cross section is known as a fill section. Okay, then you look at the second one, the one in the middle. You can see again the plane surface is below and the road level is higher. Okay, and so in order to bring the ground level equal to the road level, we have to do some cutting, meaning some excavation. Okay, now in both the figures you can see where the road level ends, we have steep slopes going towards the ground. In this case they are going up, in this case they are going down. These steep slopes are known as embankments or side slopes. Embankments or side slopes, they are for the support of the road level, and we will talk about them in the next chapter as well. So just keep in mind, we have, when the road level finishes, we have embankments or side slopes which are going towards the ground level. Okay, then you see the third one, the last one. You can see the road level is this one, again the plane surface, and the ground level is cutting the road level at different location at a particular level. So the ground level is not completely below or above the road. It is partially below the road in this section on the left hand side. On the right hand side, it is above the road. Okay. So we call it fill and cut section because both things are there. You have to do filling on the left hand side and cutting on the right hand side. Okay. It can be any configuration. Okay. It can be filling on the right hand side as well. It can be filling on the left hand side as well. But the point is, the road at some part is below and the road at some other part is above the ground level. Okay, so we call it cut and fill section. So if the road is completely below the ground, it is cut section. If the road is completely above the ground, it is fill section. And if it is both ways, then we call it fill and cut section. So you cut these cross sections and you draw them like I have shown you here in these three figures. So you will have many cross sections like this. Okay, normally the interval between the two, so you will from the first point to the last point, you can have as many cross sections as you want. But normally the distance between one cross section and the next one is 30 meters or 100 feet. And in surveying terms, we call it one station. So 30 meters or 100 feet is known as one station. Okay, and again, you may have heard this term in the surveying course as well, but I'm telling you again, 30 meters or 100 feet equals one station. So normally the distance between let's say this is the first cross section and this is the next one. Okay, so the distance between them will be 30 meters, 100 feet normally. Okay, you can increase or decrease it, but this is a normal practice. Okay. Now at each cross section, going back to these figures, now what is the material required to bring the ground level equal to the road level? The material is the area between these two lines, the area between the road level line and the ground level line. So if you calculate the area between these two lines, you will have the quantity of material required at this section to bring the road level equal to the ground level. Okay, so at each cross section you will have a different quantity. Some of them will be cut, some of them will be filled. Okay, I told you in the previous lecture that earthwork is calculated in terms of cubic meters or cubic yards, which is volume. So you are taking the area, you will obviously have area. You will not get the volume. So we need to multiply with the third dimension. This is a cross section. So you have used the height and the width. Now we need to multiply with the third dimension, which is the length. Okay, so I have this cross section. Which length should I multiply with? Okay, then this is the question, right? Because which length belongs to this cross section? Okay, so let's say I am taking the cross sections every 30 meters. So at the start of 30 meter, I have this cross section, and at the end of 30 meter, I have another cross section, and I have two quantities. So within a length of 30 meters, I have two quantities of area. Okay, so which quantities I should multiply? Should I multiply this one, the first one, or the second one with 30 meters? The answer is we will apply a method which is known as average end area method to calculate or to convert the area of earthwork into the volume of earthwork. We use the equation which is known as an average end area method equation, which you can see here. Okay, so V is the volume of the earthwork we are trying to calculate. A1 is the first area at the beginning of 30 meter. A2 is the second area, which is at the end of 30 meter, and L is the distance between A1 and A2. So as I said, 30 meter is the normal case, but L can be 10, 20, 15, whatever. Okay, so we have two areas, one at the beginning of L, one at the end of L. You put them in this equation, and you multiply with L and you get the volume. Okay, so why we call it average end area? Because A1 is at one end, A2 is at the other end, and you are doing plus upon 2, A1 plus A2 upon 2. So basically you are taking average of the end areas and then you multiply with the length. So that's why we call it average end area method. Okay, now if L is in meters and A1 and A2 are in square meters, you will get the answer in cubic meter, which is no problem, right? Meter, square meter multiplied meter, cubic meters. But if L is in feet and the area is in square feet, then you need to convert the answer into cubic yards. Okay, because in feet unit, the material of earthwork is calculated in cubic yards. Okay, and I will tell you later on about the conversion. Okay, just keep this thing in mind. If you are calculating units in meters, then no problem, just multiply with the square meter with meter, that cubic meter. In feet, you have to convert to cubic yards. Okay. Now, why we use average end area method? Why not other methods? You may have gone through other methods in surveying, I'm not sure, but whenever you will take, or if you have already taken quantity estimation, then you will know about other methods of calculating volume as well. Okay, why are we not using those methods? First of all, first is, you can see the equation, very simple. Taking average of two areas, multiply with the length. Very simple equation. The equation is very simple, calculation is very simple. First reason of using average end area method. Second reason, if the distance between the two areas is kept as 30 meters or less, most of the cases 30 meters. Okay, so if it is 30 meters, then it will, this method will give you enough accuracy in your estimation. Okay, the accuracy which you require can be provided with average end area method without any problem. Okay. If you want to increase the accuracy of this method, I want to use average end area method, but with more accuracy. Okay, even more than what I will get with 30 meters distance between them, I can reduce the distance between the areas. So instead of taking area after every 30 meters, after every station, I can take the areas at every half a station. So if 30 meters is one station, half a station will be 15 meters. Okay, so 15 meters, 10 meters. So you can increase the accuracy of the average end area method by reducing the value of L, distance between the cross sections. Okay, or if you say no, I am not even satisfied with reducing the length as well, I want some higher accuracy method, then there are other methods. I can just show you the name. There's pyramid method, there's prismoidal rule, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can take or you can use one of these methods as well if you are not satisfied with the accuracy of the average end area method. Okay, but as I was telling you, for construction cost estimation, this method with 30-meter distance is enough. Okay, so don't be a tough cookie, right? Just accept that it is enough. Okay, then shrinkage of material. One thing you need to consider when you are calculating the quantity of earthwork is the shrinkage of material. Okay, what do we mean? So whenever you bring any material to the site to be filled, to be filled in any given space, that space can be formwork of a beam, formwork of a slab, of column, or just an excavated hole. Whenever you bring something on the construction site and you fill space with that material because you want to put some load on it, then after filling up the material, what is the first thing you will do? You will do compaction. Okay, any loose material which is brought on the into the site, compaction. Okay, whether it's concrete or asphalt or aggregate, okay, or just sand or clay, whatever, you fill it and you do compaction. Now after compaction, what happens to the volume? What happens to the volume of the material? It reduces because the air voids are squeezed out, and then the volume of the material gets reduced. Okay, so if you brought 100 cubic meters of material to the site, 100 cubic meter in a truck, okay, or 100 cubic meter which was piled up on the ground, that 100 cubic meter after filling and compaction may become 95 cubic meters. Okay, it may lose volume because of 5 cubic meters of air or water or whatever. Okay, so that means if I want to fill a space of 100 cubic meters, I should ask for more material to be brought on site, so that after filling and compaction it can fill up the required space. Okay, now keep in mind, I'm saying again and again, it is for filling. Shrinkage phenomena is considered when you are considering the quantity of fill material. Okay, you need to consider that the material will shrink after compaction, and I will need extra material to fill up the space of the shrunk material. Okay, now the material which is brought on the site is normally brought in trucks or trolleys, and obviously in trucks and trolleys you cannot have material in compacted form, so it will always be loose material, and you will always have to add some extra quantity to allow for shrinkage of material after compaction. So the material which is ordered or which is brought on the site for filling is always increased by multiplying with the shrinkage factor. Okay, so shrinkage factor is the factor which is multiplied with the quantity of fill material to get the actual material, actual loose material required to fill up the compacted space. And that factor ranges from 1.1 to 1.25. 1.1 to 1.25. So 1 is the actual quantity required, and then you are adding 0.1 into it, right? Or in this case, you are adding 0.25 into it. So in terms of percentage, 0.1 means what? 0.1 means 10%. And in terms of percentage, 0.25 means 25%. So if I say my shrinkage factor is 1.25, that means I am asking for 25% extra quantity of material. Okay. Now, how do I decide what should be my shrinkage factor? Shrinkage factor depends upon the quality of the material which you are bringing to the site for filling. Okay, the quality of soil which you are bringing to the site for filling. Because this loose material is most of the cases aggregates and the natural soil. Now, some of you may have taken the course of soil mechanics or geotechnical engineering, and some of you will take. So in that course, you will study about different types of soils. Okay, now I will not test your information or knowledge, even if you have taken it. Okay, I'm afraid that you will start giving me messed up answers, and even the things which I will know, which I know already, I will forget them. Okay, so there are different types of soils which reduce or which has more or less shrinkage value. Okay, so shrinkage factor depends upon the type of material which you will bring on the site. Okay, so if it is hard rock, then the shrinkage is less. If it is loose soil, the shrinkage is more, and so on. Okay, so if you know the type of material, the quality of material, you can find out how much should be the shrinkage factor value. Okay, normally what is our preference? The preference is the material which we have excavated from one cross section can be used at some other cross section on the same project. This is our preference. Okay, so one area or one particular part of the highway required some filling, and the other part of the highway required some cutting. So the material which I have cut from that site is already piled up on the side of the road, on the construction site. So instead of hiring someone to bring the material from some other site or from some other quarry, I will just take the material which is already laying on the site. Okay, this is preferred. Okay, when you calculate the earthwork quantity, then you plot a mass haul diagram. You can see the mass haul diagram here. This is the mass haul diagram. On the x-axis you have distance, on the y-axis you have quantity of earthwork in cubic meters or cubic yards. Okay, now the cost of earthwork depends upon two things: volume and type of material, and the distance up to which that material is required. Okay, so volume you have already calculated. Now type of material is generally not a problem. Type of material is generally not a problem, because in contractors usually give you a standard rate for earthworks for the normal variety of the material. Okay, so normally you have sand of this type, so they are already prepared for it. They can give you a rate that if it is type A, B, C, D, E, any of these normal types, we will give you this standard rate of earthwork. So for all these types, the same rate. Okay, because they are already prepared for it. They have the expertise, they have the equipment to carry that material, to excavate it, to fill it. Okay, no problem. The problem comes, or the cost of can change according to type of material, is that if that type of material is either extremely soft or extremely hard. Okay, which is very rare in most of the areas. So for example, there's a specific type of material, a specific type of soil which you will find in Bahrain. Okay, I think in Saudi Arabia I heard the name Sabkha soil. Okay, I think it is found in Bahrain as well. So if it is Sabkha soil or something which is close to Sabkha soil, then the contractor would say any soil which is close to or which is similar to Sabkha soil, I will charge you this rate, no problem. But if the properties of the soil are completely different from Sabkha soil, they are not even close, then he will say the type of material is completely different from what I expected, so I will charge you extra. Okay, so per cubic meter will not be 1 BD, per cubic meter will be 1.5 BD. Okay, so if the material is completely different, either on the harder side or either on the softer side, both materials are hard to handle. Okay, so in that case, the type of material can change the cost. Okay, but like in 90 to 95% of the cases, the type of material will not affect the cost, because the contractor already knows the type of material. Okay, So the cost depends upon how much material you are going to excavate and the type of material and the distance to which this material is required. So for how much length of the highway you required filling, and for how much length of the highway you required cutting. Okay, so it's a 10-kilometer highway. How many kilometers are in cutting situation, how many are in filling situation. Okay, so that will depend upon, because for cutting he will charge you something else and for filling he will charge something else. Now both these quantities can be taken from the mass haul diagram. Okay, the volume is on the x-axis and the distance is on the, the volume is on the y-axis and the distance is on the x-axis. So mass haul diagram is the one which you will eventually use for calculating the cost of earthwork. Okay, so your final goal is to prepare the mass haul diagram after all the calculations so that you can calculate the cost of earthwork. So we have already discussed that in road schemes we try to keep the earthwork to a minimum. Okay, and how can we keep it to a minimum? By keeping the road level close to the ground level. Okay, if the road level and the ground level are very close to each other, then the area between them will be smaller and the quantity of earthwork will be less. Okay. Another thing which you have to keep in mind while you are doing the design of the highway is to balance the earthwork. Balance the earthwork. Okay. Now, what do we mean by balance? I will tell you complete balance. What do we mean by complete balance? You require 100 or let's say 500 cubic meters of filling, and the material which you after shrinkage, okay, after adding for shrinkage, you require 500 cubic meters of material for filling, and on the cut cross sections of your highway, you are getting exactly 500 cubic meters of material. So all the material which you have cut, you will use it in filling. This is complete balance. Okay, so no extra material should be brought on the side for filling, and no extra material has to be disposed of the side from cutting. Okay, you have material from one side of the road, you put it on the other side of the road. This is complete balance. Okay, obviously complete balance is 99.9% of the cases is the theoretical situation, theoretical phenomenon. Okay, you cannot attain complete balance in practical construction projects. Who can design the road like this? Exactly, fill is exactly equal to cut. We have other things to worry about, right? So we try to attain balance, but there will be some imbalance as well. So there will be some extra cut material or some extra fill material. Okay, there will be, but we try to minimize this extra material as much as possible. Okay, now why we are trying to do that? Why balance is important? Okay, balance indicates three things. Balance indicates three things. First of all, balance indicates that you design the road very close to the ground level. So when you design the road very close to the ground level, you will have cut and fill both, and their quantities will be very small. So the extra material will automatically be less. Okay, so that was the first point. So that means you kept the earthwork to a minimum. Design close to the ground level, then you will have either all the cutting or all the filling. You will not have a mix. Secondly, that also means you are following the natural topography of the ground. That means the slope of the road is more or less the same as the slope of the ground or the elevation of the ground. Okay, that is a good thing for the driver. The driver, it's easier. It becomes easier for the driver to understand the road situation. Okay, and it becomes easier to design. It reduces the overall cost of the project as well. Not only the construction cost, even the maintenance cost and other things as well. Okay, and the third point is design helps the contractor as well. It makes the construction work easier and faster. Okay, so this is why we try to attain balance as much as possible. 100% balance, as I said, will not be there in almost all the projects. Okay, you will be very lucky to have some type of balance. Okay. Okay, now how do we calculate the ordinate of the mass haul diagram? Ordinate means the y-axis. Okay, on the x-axis is distance, so no problem. It will start from 0 the first point of the road, it will end at the last point of the road. Okay. What about the y-axis? On the y-axis, I'm plotting the quantity of earthwork, which is cubic yard. Okay. So the quantity can be cut and fill as well. Okay. So on the y-axis, I plot the net accumulated quantity. Net accumulated quantity of cut or fill. Net accumulated. Net means, first of all, at every station you will do cut minus fill. Cut minus fill. So net. That means cut minus fill. Okay. Then for every station you will do accumulation as well. Accumulation means what? Add the previous value. At the previous value. So at every station, first of all, at that station, find out how much is the net quantity. Then add the quantity from the previous station. It will be net accumulation of cut or fill. Okay. And the other point about the ordinate diagram here is it always starts with 0. The first point is always 0. Why? First point means first station. First station will not have the length. So until you multiply with the length, which will be at the next station, you cannot have volume. So volume at the first station will be 0. Okay. So the ordinate of mass hole diagram is net accumulation, okay, of the earthwork quantity, and the first point always starts from 0. So at the first point is the origin, 0 distance and 0 quantity, 0 0. Okay, this is about the mass hole diagram. Now let us start with the calculations. Today I will just explain how to calculate with a very simple example. Okay, there can be other examples as well, more complicated as well, but we are just starting, so let us start with a simple example. The quantity of we are required to calculate the mass hole diagram, and we will plot the mass hole diagram. Okay, calculate the earthwork coordinates and plot the mass hole diagram. To do that, first of all, we needed some cross sections, and we needed to find out the area of cross section. So we have the cross sections here. You can see here. Let me zoom in. So how many cross sections you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 cross sections. Each cross section is a different station. So you see station 0, station 1, station 2, station 3, 4, 5. And now you can see how we write a station as well. What is the notation for writing the station? Station 1 is 1 plus 0 0. Station 2 is 2 plus 0 0. This is the notation for writing the stations. Okay. In every cross section you see the road level denoted by RL, and you see the ground level, which is denoted by GL. Okay, at every station you see the difference between the road level and the ground level, and the value of the side slope, the embankment. Okay, so this is the road level for the vehicles, and after that you have the side slope. Okay, side slope is very steep, and the road level is plain. Okay, in this case, for this example, just to make you understand, I have made it completely flat, but normally it has a small cross-sectional slope as well, the road level, but the cross-sectional slope is very small, 1 or 2%. If you see this slope 4:1, it is very high. So this is the slope where vehicles will not travel, because we cannot travel on this line, on this surface, because this surface is very inclined, very steep. Okay, 1:4 means 25% slope, which is not good for vehicles. Okay, so the length of the highway is 500 feet. So we will have station 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the first station. So 6 cross sections. Okay, each cross section is at a different station, starting from the first one. There are 6 cross sections. The width of the road is 30 feet for the whole project. Obviously, this is the case. The width of the road is normally constant throughout the project. So for all the cross sections, the width at the road level is 30 feet. The width of this plain line is how much? 30 feet. The shrinkage factor is given 1.15, meaning what? How much percentage of material I am expecting to shrink? 15% because of compaction. Okay, so I will bring 15% extra material for filling. Okay, so this is the explanation about the data which is given. Okay, the road level is given, the ground level is given, the difference between them is given, the shrinkage is given, and the road width. Today we will just calculate the cross sections. Okay, just calculate the area for the cross sections, and on Sunday we will continue with the calculation of material and so on. Now keep one thing in mind, the shape of the cross section may differ from one station to the other. So there is no
Doctor,
yes.
Can the shrinkage be minus?
No.
No. Always positive.
You do compaction and you put air into it. Oh, the material will not swell.
I mean, that's positive is for fill, maybe minus for cut, yani.
No. For cutting, we are not bothered about the material then.
Okay.
You cut the material, then you throw it. Like it's not in your use now. When it was on the ground, it was compacted. That's why the ground was stable, right? Otherwise, the ground will sink, right? So okay, let me clarify. There is no shrinkage for cut material. Shrinkage is only applied to fill material. No shrinkage for cut material. Because cut material, whatever the quantity is, we just take it out. That's it. And that material is now on the side. When you bring it to the other side for filling, then we have to calculate the extra quantity for that space where it will be filled. Okay. So there is no shrinkage factor for cutting. Okay. Let us start with the calculation. So as I was saying, there is no fixed formula for calculating the area of the cross section. Okay. You may have a different cross section at each station. Okay. So whatever calculations I'm doing, so I have a very difficult cross section at station 2 plus 0 0 just to explain this point. Okay, just to make sure that you get this point, that later on, and you understand later on means what? Exam, right? Or the assignment. So you may get a different cross section which is not shown. Okay, so otherwise you will also, then you will start cursing me and so on, but that's fine. Okay, that's fine. I'm used to it. Okay, let us start with the station at with the cross section as at station 0. At station 0. Okay. So just one thing, we are saying 500 feet is the length, and you can see the station 0 plus 0 0, 1 plus 0 0, 2 plus 0 0. So 1 plus 0 0, sorry, 0 plus 0 0 and 1 plus 0 0. How much is the distance between them? One station, meaning 100 feet. So one station means 100 feet. Okay. We will use it later on. Now, if you look at the station at station 0 0, the cross section at station 0 0, okay, you can see the shape of the cross section here. Now, this portion, you see this plain line. This is making a rectangle with the ground. The plain line of the road is making a rectangle with the ground, and then you see some inclined space on the side, both sides. So this inclined space is making a right angle triangle with the road line, right? With the road level. Sorry, not the road level, ground level. Okay, so I have a rectangle, and I have two right angle triangles on both the sides. Okay, this one and this one. So for the rectangle, I know the width of the road, which is 30 feet. And I know the height, the difference in elevation between the road level and the ground level. So 30 into 1 will give me the area of the rectangle. For the area of the triangle, okay, I know the height. Area of the triangle, right angle triangle is what? Half base into height. So I know the height. I need the base. Okay, so I have the height and I have the slope, the ratio for the slope. Okay, what is the ratio? For every 1 feet height, 4 feet base. For every 1 feet height, 4 feet base, right? This is the ratio. So using the height, I can calculate how much is the base of this triangle, and the same will be for this triangle as well. The side slope or the slope of the embankment is same throughout the project, which is again normally the case. Okay, the road properties do not change. The width, the side slope, they normally do not change. Anyways, so for every 1 feet in height, I will have a base of 4 feet. So I can calculate the base, okay, for the right angle triangle. So let me calculate the area. Let me call it area 0. Area at station 0. So I have the rectangle between the I have rectangle in the middle. For the rectangle is 30 into 1. 30 is the width, 1 is the height. For the triangle, I will add the area of the triangle. So half base, half base. So half of base into height. So how much is the base for this triangle? For every 1 feet, 4 feet base. For every 1 feet height, 4 feet base. And the height is exactly 1 feet. So the base will exactly be 4 feet. So the base is 4 multiplied by height, which is 1. And I have two triangles, one on this side, one on the other side. Okay, so so this whole thing into 2. How much is the area at station 0? Yes, area at station 0. (34 square feet). Okay, 34 square feet. I'm telling you from the start right now, take care of the units. You will get confused when I go into the calculation of earthwork quantities and the cost. I'm telling you right now. People have made mistakes, like blunders, not even mistakes. They are blunders, and then eventually when I tell them this was not length, this was area, they uh, they feel there is insanity and stupidity. Okay, so I want to save you from that. Square feet. Okay.
Victor, can you repeat the area? Like, from where did you go to 0.5, the half?
Area of right angle triangle, half base into height, right? This is right angle triangle, right? This one is right angle triangle on the side.
Okay.
So yeah, I have a plain line here, straight line. So this is a rectangle, and the remaining is a right angle triangle on this side, right angle on the other side. Let me make it. Let me put a line here so it may become more clear for you. So you see here, this is a rectangle. Between these two lines, a rectangle, and then this right angle triangle and this right angle triangle. The area of a right angle triangle is half base into height. So half, then I calculated the base using the height and the slope. The height is 1 feet, slope is 4:1. So the base will be 4 into 1. Okay, and the height is 1. So half 4 into 1, and why multiply by 2? Because it's on both the sides. Got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Now somebody pointed in the other section, so let me tell you here as well. This area which I just calculated looks like a trapezoid. So you can apply the equation of trapezoid as well. Doesn't matter. I'm trying to keep it simple, so just triangles and squares and rectangles. Okay, but if you know the area of a trapezoid and you feel the area cross section which is shown to you is a trapezoid, apply the equation of area of a trapezoid. Doesn't matter. You will still get the same answer. Okay. So like I said, there are different methods. Once you go into the geometry, there are many methods to calculate the area. Okay, but I'm trying to keep it simple. Okay, so that easier to explain for me and to understand for you. Okay, going for station 1 now. So this was station 0. Now I'm going for station 1. So at station 1, again I have a triangle. Okay, the height of the triangle is now 0.8. The width is same. The width is 30. So 30 into 0.8 plus again the two triangles. Okay, now the height is 0.8 and again the ratio is same, 1:4. So for 1 feet I have a base of 4. So for 0.8 feet I will have the base of 4 into 0.8. So half into base, which is 4 into 0.8, into the height, which is 0.8, multiply by 2 because there are two triangles, one on each side. Okay, give me the area now. area for station 1, how much is it? (32.56 square feet). Okay, good. Then I will. Okay, first of all, areas were which quantity, cut or fill? These were fill, because the ground level is low, road level is high. So these two quantities were fill quantities. Okay, now I will skip station 1, station 2. I will go to station 3. So I'll calculate station 3, 4, 5, and then we'll move back to station 2, because station 2 is, you can see, slightly difficult here. So I will keep it for the end. This is what I said for your exam as well, right? Keep the difficult questions at the end. So I'm following what I said, huh? As they say, walk the talk, huh? Or talk the walk. No, walk the talk. Yeah. So I will jump to station 3 now. At station 3, 4, 5, ground level is high, road level is low. So now we are calculating the cut quantity. So the first two were fill quantities. Now the last three are cut quantities. Okay, and station 2 will have both. Okay, so let me calculate the cut quantity. Yes, station 3. But you can see the shape is same. So the area calculation will be the same, but instead of calling it cut, I will call it, instead of calling it fill, I will count it as cut quantity. Okay, but the procedure is same. So at station 3, I'll call it area 3. I have a rectangle which is 30 feet width and 0.5 feet height. Then I have the triangle. Okay, the base of the triangle will be 4, the slope multiplied by the height, which is 0.5, multiply by the height again for the area, multiply by 2 for both the triangles. So how much is? Okay, then area 4, 32, 0.6, the rectangle, plus half base, so 4 into 0.6 into height 0.6 multiplied by 2. How much is this? (19.44 square feet). Okay, then area at station 5, I'll call it A5. Again, 30 multiplied by the height, which is 0.8, plus half base, which is 4 into 0.8 into 0.8 multiplied by 2 for two triangles. How much is this? (26.56 square feet). A3 is 16. Okay, fine, 16. Okay, I have the values. I will later on check. But if there is any confusion regarding the calculation, you can ask me. Okay, you can later on confirm the values. So the calculations are the important part. Okay, now I'm going to the difficult one, the one which is going to come in the exam, right? So the area 2. Now area 2 quantities at station 2, I will calculate two quantities, one for fill, one for cut, because both are there and you cannot add them. Cut cannot be added with fill. Cut cannot be added with fill. So you have to calculate one for filling and one for cutting. I will start from the right hand side. On the right hand side, road level is higher, ground level is lower. So the quantity will be fill. Quantity will be fill. I will start from this side. Okay, so this side I have the side slope. Okay, the height is 0.4 and the side slope is 4:1. So I apply the same technique here, but I will not multiply by 2, because here the slope is different. This is the slope of the ground. This is not the side slope. Side slope is at the end of the road, at the end of the width of the road. So this is side slope 4:1, and this one is side slope 4:1. This one is the slope of the ground, the natural ground, which is 7:1. So whatever I take here, I cannot multiply by 2 for this side. I have to take the area of this triangle separately. Okay. So first of all, I am calculating the area at station 2 for cut. Okay. I'm taking first triangle, so half base. So for base, I have the slope as 4, height is 0.4. Okay, and then I multiply with the height, which is 0.4 again. Okay, plus this rectangle, which has a base of 4 feet and a width and a height of 0.4. So 4 into 0.4 plus the area of this triangle. So this triangle, the slope is 7:1. Okay, and the height is 0.4. So I will calculate the base using these two values. Okay, so half base, which is 7 multiplied by 0.4 into height, which is 0.4. How much is the cut area at station 2? .4 square feet. Okay, now I will calculate the area for filling. Okay, so A2 fill. Okay, going same manner from right to left. I have a triangle first. The height of the triangle is 0.3. The slope is 7. So I will calculate the base using this. So half base is 7 into 0.3 into height, which is 0.3, plus the area of this rectangle, right? But I don't know the base of this rectangle. So I will again, like I've been doing, I'll dodge it for now. I'll come back to it in the end. Okay, so again, I will go to that left extreme. I have again a right angle triangle. The height is 0.3, and now the side, this is the side slope now, because it's the end of the road. So this is the side slope. So the side slope is 4:1. Okay, so 4:1. So half base, so 0.3 into 4 is the base, and then into height, which is 0.3. Now for the rectangle, I know the height, which is 0.3. The height is 0.3. I know, I need to know the base. Okay, I know the total width of the road, which is from here to here. Now remember, this is the ground level. This is not the road width. Road width ends at this point. Okay, at this point, the road width ends here. So it's from here to here. Okay, the plain line, the line where the vehicles are supposed to be. Okay, so I need to calculate this width. Okay, from here to this point. Okay, I know this one is 4 feet, and for the remaining, these are all triangles for which I have already calculated the base. So the total width is 30 feet. From this point to this point, the width is 30 feet, and I will subtract this 4 feet and the bases of these 3 triangles to get the base of the rectangle. So I will add, 0.3 multiplied by 30 minus 4 feet, which is given here. Okay, then the base of the first triangle on the right hand side, which is 0.4 into 4, minus the base of the second triangle, which is 0.4 into 7, minus the base of the third triangle, which is 0.3 into 7. Okay, so this will give you the area for filling at station 2. Okay, so give me the value, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, I will go for the attendance. 24.105. Okay, fine. Now, so square feet. Okay, so this is fine. We calculate the quantities of areas, and on Sunday we will proceed further for earthwork volumes and cost. Now, regarding the quiz, some of you had complaints about the numerical questions. Okay, I have noted your complaints. Next time I will try to bring a different format. Okay, I think that should be fine with you. Okay, and next time you will have a different format to make sure that you have less variation in the questions. Okay, fine. Now for this quiz, let me tell you one thing, because I have been reading speeches and from your side, you have been giving me speeches and lessons and whatnot. Okay, let me tell you one thing. You have been studying for 14-15 years. I have been teaching for 14-15 years. Okay, so I think I'm alhamdulillah well prepared for anything which can create a problem for the students. I can handle it. Okay, so now I have the results from both the sections. Everybody has got questions and so on, different questions, whatever. So if I feel one particular question created a problem for all the students who attempted it, okay, then I will try to give as much benefit to you. In any case, if I think some of you have some of you told me that they have problem with uploading, some of you told me they have a problem with time, so on and so forth. I even try to take care of you and try to accommodate, facilitate you even at the time of the test. Okay, obviously I cannot change the question at the time of the test. So at the time of checking, if I feel one question was particularly tough, I will try to give you some bonus marks. Okay, so this should be you should relax now. Okay, so if you lose marks, then it will be then you can make rest assured that it will be after trying from my side to increase your marks. Okay, it will be after that. Okay, so whatever I can do from my side, I will do. Okay, but next time, since I will try to make it better, then I will be tougher on the grading. Okay, it's obvious. Okay, moving to the attendance. Ala Ahmad Manahi. Ala Ahmad Manahi. Mahmoud Isa. Mahmoud Isa. Muhammad Al Ajab.
Present.
Zahra is here. Balqis Muhammad. He's not here. Mahdi Abdul Ilah.
Here. Here.
Yeah, Zahra, I marked you. Now I am calling for Mahdi Abdul Ilah.
I am here. Mahdi here.
Yeah, okay. Ala Munir. Ala Munir. Faye Ibrahim. Okay, Faye is here. Ali Khan is here. Fatma Muhammad. She is not here. Huda Ahmad is here. Latifa Hassan. Manal Yasin. If I mark your attendance, you can leave.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay. Noon Faisal. Sara Khamis. Okay. Noor Tawfiq. Okay. Mohammed Jafar. Okay. Okay. Wasan Rafiq. Wasan Rafiq is not here. Bayan Kadem. Okay, Basan is not here and Fatma is not here. Faye, okay, no. Hala Munir,
Yes, doctor.
you were sleeping, right? Balkis Muhammad,
No.
Balkis Muhammad is not here, okay. Anybody, Mahmoud Isa is not here. Allah Ahmad Manahi, not here. Okay, anybody from section 1?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Okay, so I will call her the name. Noor Hassan is here. Noor Hassan is not here. Iman Muhammad Hussain. Okay, Iman is here. Ola Hassan is here, right? Huda, just give me a minute, I will answer you. Abdullah Muhammad Misbah. Not here? Okay, I think we are done, right? Yusuf Abdullah Muhammad, not here. And yeah, we are done. Huda, we don't fill the cut with, we don't add the cut with fill because I told you earlier, earthwork is the net quantity. So if you add them, then where is the net? How will you calculate the net? Okay, so we need the cut and fill separately as area. So later on we will calculate cut and fill volume separately, and then we can take the net. If you already add them together, then how can you take the difference? Okay, so for example, in this case, the cut was 2 point something, the fill was 24 point something. So you will give me the material is 26, and later on I will, how will I take the difference? Okay, so we keep them separate because first of all, in terms of construction, they are different, right? Cutting is different than filling, so we cannot, obviously, practically it is not possible to add them. You cannot say 2 cubic meters of filling is equal to 2 cubic meters of cutting. No, they require different work, so you cannot add them because of practical reasons. Secondly, I need the net quantity in the end, so if you add them now, how will I know the net quantity? So that's why we don't add them. Okay, any other question? Okay, I'll see you on Sunday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.